First, let's start with the elephant in the room, shall we? Am I coming back to YouTube? Why do I feel like I'm like about to break up with someone? So many questions about wedding planning. I'm gonna spill some tea. Hello, you guys. Ugh, I haven't said that in so long. Hello, how are you? I did not mean to just vanish for so long. Like what? My last YouTube video was in November and it's March. I am back. I am feeling honestly better than ever, better than in a long time. And I am in just the biggest yappy mood right now. I have so much to talk about that I want to like catch you guys up on. You guys have asked so many questions for this Q&A over on Instagram. I just think this is gonna be a really long video because I have so many things that I just want to chat about. So let's just go ahead and get into it, but I'm gonna timestamp this video here. First, let's start with the elephant in the room, shall we? Where have I been? That was definitely the question I got the most, was either where have I been or am I planning to take a step back from YouTube this year? So I'm gonna start with catching you guys up a little bit on what I've been up to the past 3 months. I'm gonna try to breeze through it, even though obviously it's like a quarter of a year, so it's a long time. I have taken notes. I went on my Christmas markets trip back in December with some of you guys, which was so much fun. I think that was my favorite group trip I've ever done. It was like a smaller group of girls. I'm an introvert, so I just felt like it was very manageable for my social level. I actually vlogged that for TikTok. I decided not to vlog that for YouTube, which we'll talk about here, kind of related to that in a little bit, but I did record TikTok vlogs. And then I came back from that trip. We went straight to Christmas with my family in North Carolina. Giselle and I spent the holidays there. It's kind of a hot mess. We don't need to get into that, but upon getting back here, we flew back on Christmas Day, cut our trip a little bit short. And then I proceeded to get sick 3 times in a row. I had like a really bad cold. I was better for 1 day and then I got sick again. And I was better for a few days. And then the fire started. So like somewhere around this, I had actually vlogged. I've deleted the footage at this point because I never turned it into something because it just abruptly ended because then LA got into the fires. And I think obviously that would have probably made for an interesting vlog, but content was not what was on my mind. It was like a very stressful time for anyone that lives here. Obviously, you guys get it. Was not sleeping for days. We didn't have power for like a long time. And it was just a crazy feeling I never expected to experience of like getting your things together that you would want to take with you if you had to evacuate at a moment's notice, and like just literally not sleeping through the night because the app is going off like every 5 seconds and you're like checking to see if like the fire is getting closer to you and like, do you need to leave? It was just stressful. Yeah, I feel like January was a month of just like fires and sickness. I felt like the year was starting like so poorly, but then at the same time, I was going straight into my 30th birthday. And also I consider this to be my biggest like career accomplishment up to this point. Is I was going to Chicago to film some stuff with Crate and Barrel because I am their entertaining expert of the year, which is so crazy. It feels so good to be recognized for like something that I feel like I don't know, I just have so much confidence in that I'm good at, like hosting stuff and party planning. And it's also like something I'm so passionate about that's so fun for me. And I just love that all of this has like aligned in a way that is valuable to brands, and like, you know, I can make money from this thing that's so fun to me, and just to get recognized from such a big brand is crazy. It was like chaos mode, then this trip, and I went to North Carolina to celebrate my best friend Caroline's 30th birthday. We came back from that, and my 30th birthday dinner party, which you guys saw, that was 2 days after the trip, or after I got home. And also I had norovirus at that time, came down with that in the middle of the night before I had to go to this shoot. So I told them all I'm sick. I've been up all night, like sick. Like, what are the freaking odds of that? In some ways it like made me feel better because I was really nervous for the shoot, but then it was like I couldn't even be nervous anymore because all I was focused on was like not yakking in the car on the way there. But the show went on. Like, there were a lot of people involved in this production, so I just wore a mask. Yeah, came back to my birthday, which is my favorite dinner party we have ever done. I had this like fine dining dinner party. It was so much fun, and we had a chef come and cook for us, and like he brought 2 servers. Like, we had this whole cocktail hour. It felt like a mini wedding dinner almost. I felt so loved, and it was just a really fun 30th birthday. And then we get to February, so 1 week after that, I hosted my Galentine's party, which was so cute. Just like a wholesome night of crafting, and just like I love that group of friends. It's like the group I used to live with when I first moved to LA, when I lived with Adrian for many years. So that was a great time. And then I feel like we have rolled straight into everyone I know being born in February almost. I've always had several of my closest friends born in February. And then Giselle, like since dating her, so many of her closest friends are born in February. So many of our neighbors now where we live are born in February. And so we've just been going to lots of birthday parties, and we went to Napa actually recently. That was Valentine's Day weekend. I got invited to go up there for the White Lotus premiere screening because obviously the film was at Four Seasons. So we're invited by the Four Seasons Napa where they were doing their whole like US event. So that was crazy. Freaking love White Lotus. And then beyond that, I've just been like finally getting into the work swing of things for the year, I feel like. And then also something I'm going to talk about here, but we've been doing a lot of wedding planning. So that's been taking up a lot of time in the past, like, I would say 3 weeks especially. And then that brings me to today. It is now March, and that's what I've been up to. Like, it's been a very busy past few months, like a very fun past few months. Definitely has had its challenges as well, but I'm just feeling in a really good place at the current moment, and I'm going to talk more about that. But to move on to all of the questions about, am I coming back to YouTube? Am I scaling back on YouTube this year? Buckle up for this one. Why do I feel like I'm like about to break up with someone? So let's cut right to it. If I'm jumping around a lot and like talking in circles or circling back to something I already said or whatever, I feel like I've been having this conversation in my head for months. I still just have not like put together all of my thoughts that I want to convey. My feelings about it are just so multifaceted. So YouTube obviously is where I started social media back when I was 16. I'm 30, so that's like basically half of my life that I have been here on YouTube. Obviously, this was the start of social media for me. Like, Instagram wasn't really around. TikTok obviously was not around. Like, this was it. This was my creative outlet. This was fun. Like, this became my job. I mean, not like a full-time job salary type thing early on, but you know, this was giving me high school money back in the day. And like, these are my roots. Obviously, just social media in general has changed so much. The type of videos I post on this channel have changed so much over the years, like as trends have changed and just how life has changed and whatever. And if I'm being just completely honest, it has been the platform that I have been the least excited about for a really long time now. I would say all of last year. I would say the beginning of last year, I was still getting more into it. I feel like I was focusing a lot on like productivity content and like New Year's goals. And then I feel like as the year went on, and even before that, like I've just been feeling uninspired because I feel like all I really know to do on here anymore that I feel like is a fit is just vlogging. Over the past year, my life has gotten so busy in so many other ways, whether it's, I mean, now wedding planning, of course, but having a dog or a puppy, you know, trying to train her, having a house and all the responsibilities and just like tasks that come with having a whole plot of land, you know? In the past year, I've had more work opportunities than I've ever had in my entire life, which has kept me very busy. And few of those have had to do with YouTube. I think a lot of things are just happening at once that have been leading me to want to take a step back from YouTube. So that is just like not creatively feeling excited about it. Like, I feel very creatively fulfilled when it comes to my hosting videos and like parties and food and like things like that, kind of all the things that I post over on my Instagram. Hand in hand with that, from a work perspective and like an income perspective, all of my opportunities for the most part are outside of YouTube. Like, to give you guys some context, like in all of 2024, what I made on ad revenue here is less than I commonly get paid for like one brand deal on Instagram for a whole year. Cause like my views aren't that high on this channel, you know, my engagement's not that high compared to other places. I don't think I do anything particularly unique on this page compared to what I do on Instagram. So when you think about it that way and like how much time goes into YouTube, like I feel like it's the most time consuming platform unless you're just doing a sit down video like this. But if you're vlogging for days and you're editing an hour plus of footage and putting that up, like it's very time consuming compared to anything else. Like if I were to be vlogging for TikTok, I can just vlog my little activity, piece it together, and it's so much less time. And so when I have started to reflect on the time that goes into YouTube compared to the reward of it, and it's just like, it's not in balance like it used to be. I think also as I get older and, you know, I'm in my relationship, I do have this like very tangible home life, and most people I'm friends with nowadays are not social media people. Like I feel like I'm really continuing to step back, I feel like, from like the influencer world. What's like deep down important to me isn't turning a real life moment into content. It's like wanting to be present in that moment. And again, going back to like doing this since I was 16 until the past year, I feel like I truly have not known how to be present like in a big moment in life and not be thinking about content. And that's kind of a dystopian thing. Going back to this Christmas market trip and why I didn't vlog that for YouTube, it was because I've been making a conscious effort to just be in my life, like just live this moment. Like that sounds probably so stupid to people who like don't get this, I guess, but when you grow up from like such a young brain development age, filming every trip you go on. I remember I used to say to Adrian, like we would talk about this, how I was like, I can't imagine going on a vacation and not filming it because it feels like a lost content opportunity. In the past year, again, as I've like realized maybe I don't need YouTube. Like it's not like a need like to support my life like maybe it has been in the past. It's kind of given me the freedom to, again, like just try to be more present in my life. And that's why I intentionally did not vlog that trip.
I'm editing and I feel like I did not convey this well. So not only did I feel like it was like a lost opportunity, but it was like I could not wrap my mind around, like I was always wondering like what would it feel like to be on a trip and just be living it? Like what would it be like to not be stopping to vlog and like update the camera and get these shots and like genuinely I was like, what would that be like? Like I could not even wrap my mind around it. Hence why I wanted to like for once on a big trip just experience it. And it was great. I mean, it wasn't that revolutionary, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of crazy that I couldn't even grasp what it would be like to like just live. Am I making sense?
Also getting into another thing that I feel like I've been building some resentment with YouTube about is I feel like the energy I get on YouTube is not as good as the energy I get on Instagram or TikTok. I feel like YouTube is the easiest place to be anonymous as a viewer or a hater. Just like the negative comments I get on this platform, which aren't even a lot because let's be real, the comments are minimal. But the majority of people watching this are nice, supportive, reasonable people, and I love you guys. But like speaking to the other people, for some reason that is only here. It's not on Instagram, like it's not on TikTok. And if it is, like you get a quick block, like you're gone. You make me feel anything other than good once, and I have a one strike you're out policy. Like you're blocked, I'm protecting my peace. I don't think anyone is entitled to have this access to your life to say whatever they want about you. That's just my take on that. So another like need or like benefit of YouTube in the past, I feel like was feeling like really connected to you guys. And I feel like over time that has really faded as well. The only way ever that I really compare myself to other creators is like watching people's YouTube videos, scrolling down and like seeing how many hundreds of comments I get, and then maybe I'll get like 10, you know, like it's just going back to like the effort versus like when I'm getting back, it feels sometimes like I'm talking to the void. Like, what am I doing this for, I guess? You know, when I have something exciting to share, like our engagement or just different things that I want to come on here and like long form talk about, I feel like YouTube could still serve that purpose for me when it is something that I feel like you guys would be connecting with and engaging with, that I would like be hearing from you and like feeling like I'm getting that benefit out of it, you know what I mean? But like generally speaking, YouTube isn't where I get that. It's like other platforms. I feel like the energy is so positive on Instagram and TikTok, and I hear from you guys so often on like those platforms, so it just feels more engaging for me, I guess. It's just like the older I get going through life, it's like the things I value, like privacy, like being present, like protecting my peace and everything I've already said. Like I feel like that aligns less and less with YouTube. I never really intended for hosting content to like become my new thing, but if you've been watching the vlogs for forever, you guys know like having little parties and stuff has always been so fun for me since way back. And what I really love about doing that type of content, I can live this real life moment with my friends and set the camera up and, you know, get all my shots of the setup, but I'm not like breaking that moment to like talk to the camera, you know what I mean? Like I can record it and then turn it into the content after, and I really like that it feels like I'm creating something that's a product outside of myself. Like obviously it's still sharing my life, and like I still always want to be sharing like my life with you guys. I think that like style of filming and creating content just aligns better with my values and like what I want my life to be like for the future. I'm literally referencing my notes here, but like I also don't consume YouTube anymore, which I think goes back to like having less free time, and I consume short form content in a way that's like things that are teaching me something or inspiring me. I'm not really keeping up with people's personal lives as a consumer that much anymore. I think like how I consume like mirrors my, you know, what inspires me and how I want to create. So I think that's like another reason for kind of this shift throughout time. So all of that to say, like I think it's good to go through life reevaluating if things, maybe you've done them for half your life like this, you know, like I think it's always good to be reevaluating if your decisions and your choices and your habits like serve you. And I don't think that just because you've done something for a long time means that you need to do it forever just on the principle that you've done it for a long time. Where I'm at to like finally get to the answer of this question is I'm not quitting YouTube. I really don't want to say anything definitive. Like I just feel like I want this to be a place that I can still come to and post when I feel excited about it, you know, like when I feel like I have something to show that's not like taking away from my real life, or where I feel like, you know, I really want to talk about this thing with you guys and like get your feedback and I think you're going to be engaged with it. Or even like when I have a brand deal, like at least then it like feels like it's like the effort like makes sense, you know? And so I'm not quitting YouTube, but I think if it hasn't been clear already, like I think I'm taking a big step back from goals in the past that I have set of like wanting to post every week, which hardly ever happened for like the past, year or two. I've always in the back of my mind had this like feeling like I'm not doing enough because I'm not posting this much on YouTube and this much on Instagram and this much here. Not a good feeling mentally when you just always feel like even when you're spending all your time doing something, you're still not doing enough. When I'm doing all of that, like as I did some last year, I was neglecting my health. I was not having time to work out. The last 6 months of last year, I hardly ever saw my friends. Like my friendships were suffering as a result of all of the work I was taking on. And I can justify that for the things where it is creatively fulfilling me. It is making me money. It is giving me this connection source, AKA like I feel like Instagram or TikTok, but like I can't justify like spending so much time on vlogging days and days of my life at the expense of my friendships or fitness or whatever it is. So I hope you guys like understand that. And it was so funny. I got this comment, let me find it, or this DM on TikTok, which I swiftly blocked. Someone said, "Why are you so lazy with YouTube? Open up your editing software and get it together." And this made me laugh because like you're so attached to me that like you can't live without my videos, so it sounds like, and you're spiraling out of control to the point that you are insulting me in an effort to get me to come back, which makes no sense. So I'm very sorry that my absence like has such a profound effect on your life. I don't think it should be seen as lazy to want to stop doing something that isn't serving you anymore. I'm really trying to unsubscribe from the hustle culture, and I feel my anxiety level is like so much better. I don't know. I'm just like feel like I'm returning to like the best version of myself as I have just like mentally cut this like thing out of my life a little bit, because I'm finally like having the time to slow down and to do things that bring me joy and to notice the little things. When you're going at 100 miles an hour, never caught up on everything you need to do, it's like every little thing that's you can't control or that's like not going your way is just an inconvenience, and it like spirals more and more, and so I'm just feeling really good. I feel like just the most at peace and the happiest I've been. I'm getting into wedding planning here up next, but like especially in this season of my life, want to be present in it. Like I want to enjoy it and like just like give myself the time to do that. Like literally we got engaged in September, and from then through I would say a month ago, I've not even felt engaged. Like we've had our engagement party, we've been doing all this stuff, and it has not sunk in because I have not slowed down to like let it sink in at all. Like nothing felt different, Like now that I am slowing down, and it just like it's such an exciting time in my life, and I just like want to keep soaking that up, like hopefully you go through this once. So last thing I'll say is that those of you guys that watch this channel, I appreciate you guys so much, truly. Like I know so many of you guys always say you would watch the most boring vlog in the world, and I know you mean that. I don't want you to think at all that I'm just like disregarding your support on this channel. Like why is it actually going to make me cry? But and I also know that like YouTube is some people's preferred content platform and like your preferred format, and I get that, but I'm not dying. Like I'm still gonna post here when we'll see. Today I'm starting to vlog a few days, so like there will be a vlog soon, but I just don't want people to be expecting that there's gonna be videos that often. And also I'm on other platforms, and I know this I guess is something that always does annoy me a little bit, is that there's the people that are like, well, I'm not on Instagram or I'm not on TikTok. That's your choice, girl, but like I'm there. If you want to see me that badly, come watch, like it's free to join. I don't know, maybe think about that a little bit. Moving on, finally, so many questions about wedding planning. For those of you that do follow me on TikTok, you may have seen I did a couple of videos, I feel like it was like late last year, talking about how my two big like things with wedding planning are like deciding if we want to have a wedding, if we want to elope. My two drawbacks were feeling like, is this money well spent on this thing when it could go towards putting a pool in the house or something else significant. And also like as someone who's so anxious and socially anxious and whatever, like I was asking for feedback from those of you guys, and like were you able to be present and enjoy your wedding day? So there was a long stretch of time, if you saw those videos, that Giselle and I were up in the air on like, are we gonna have a wedding? So I'm here to report that we have decided to have a wedding. It's gonna be a destination wedding. I feel like I'm gonna hold on to the destination just a little longer. We're sending out our save the dates soon, so maybe when I get those, that'll be like my little reveal. I just feel like I wanna reveal it in a more fun way than just like tucked 20 minutes into this vlog. So if you have wedding planning questions, feel free to leave those here, or I guess when we announce our destination. I kind of want to do a whole like wedding planning Q&A. I also do plan to post wedding planning content again over on Instagram and on TikTok, just because I think it's a better format. Like I don't think it makes sense to vlog my wedding planning when like it is destination. So the extent of the planning is me on my laptop. Like that's like all there is to show. It makes more sense to just like share updates in fun ways like on those platforms. Where we're at right now, we have picked our date, we have locked in in our venue. We have a wedding planner. Recently picked our photographer and videographer and also content creator. The content creator part, I love that I'm getting married at a time that this is like a service that's around. I am just so excited about our video team we found. They do like documentary style kind of wedding videography. Such talented editors, and it feels like a movie. Like when you're watching it, we were to the point where we were like, maybe we don't even need a wedding video. Like, let's just save the money on this. I mean, it's beautiful footage, but you're just cutting it to a song. Like, I could do that. Just give me the raw footage. I'll put it together, you know? So we were like to the point of just, let's not do it. And then we found our videographer now, and I have never been so inspired. I'm so excited. Yeah, now like what I've been spending time doing is trying to make decisions around our band. So I feel like that's like our current decision this week. But I will say wedding planning has been so freaking fun. I can't believe I almost deprived myself of this joyful experience. Like, I think if we were doing it without a planner, it would definitely be very stressful. Somebody asked what's been your favorite part and what's been the most stressful about wedding planning. Again, I don't think it's really been stressful. I think it's just time consuming. And then I think like the budgeting decisions are like the most stressful part, because where we're getting married as well, it's a different currency. And with what's going on in the world right now and the economy and like, who knows, like I feel like so much is uncertain. So it's like we're making all these decisions surrounding the current currency conversion between that currency and ours. If things go south, it could really be bad news for us. Like, we could be spending way more than we have planned if by the time we get married, that exchange rate is significantly different. Crossing our fingers. Oh, the other last thing I'll say is that our wedding day is not until 2026. That is why I've been in no rush, I feel like, to start the wedding content. A, we're just now kind of starting to like plan the things, but B, it's like I don't want to burn everybody out and then we finally get to the wedding and it's like, oh, this wedding's been in the works for 12 years, you know? Now let's lighten up into some quicker answers and breeze through some fun questions. What TV shows are you watching right now? We're watching Traitors, which is getting my heart rate up the past few episodes. I have not disliked someone on TV in so long, as much as I dislike Danielle. But anyways, I know Survivor just started. We've watched that the past several years in a row, but we have not started that one yet. We've been watching the stupid Challenge All-Stars season. The Challenge is my favorite show. Like, seeing how hard everyone is riding for Traitors, it's fine. I don't think it's that great of a show. Like, it's something to watch, and obviously I've gotten very invested towards the end because I was a big Carolyn fan. It's not that good of a show. Like, and I'm so happy people are starting to like the people from the Challenge that have been on Traitors because they're such big personalities. And so now so many of our friends are starting to watch the Challenge. It's like, go watch the Challenge. It's such a better show. But the All-Star season has just like the worst cast I've ever seen. Aside from Devin, it's not going well. And then something I kind of want to start watching, if any of you guys are watching this, let me know. But I keep getting fed TikToks of, I guess, Teen Mom, like, where are they now? Or, you know, whatever, like the babies from 16 and Pregnant are now 16, which is crazy. And so I keep seeing little snippets of things of that. It's making me want to just watch the show, so maybe I'll start that. I don't think Giselle ever watched Teen Mom, so that's gonna have to be my own endeavor. What are you hosting next? Oh, I totally forgot to say another thing that's been taking up a lot of my time because I'm planning this very far in advance. We're doing a 1 year until the wedding party, counting down to our very far off wedding. Where we're getting married, we are bringing a lot of like elements inspired by that destination to incorporate into the party here. I kind of want to do like a White Lotus finale party. I feel inspired for that. I think I could do some cute stuff, like a little outdoor, you know, big screen, watch the finale, but we'll see if I do that. I also want to do a garden dinner party and also just get back to my dinner parties under $100. I love those because I think it makes hosting so accessible to people who like might be intimidated by it, or you think you need to go spend all this money on it. So those are my hosting ideas at the moment. We'll see if I do all of those like themed ones, I guess. Upcoming travel plans, absolutely nothing. I think this might be the first summer literally since I graduated high school that I don't do like a summer international trip. Like, I feel like that became my personality for a while, especially like going to Greece. You guys remember? I feel like I was in Greece like every other minute. This year we are saving money. Like, our biggest priority is the wedding. I feel like we're in big saving mode across the board, but with that, I doubt we'll just be taking like a leisurely trip. I'd rather save that obviously for the wedding, but I mean, at this point, the honeymoon is an afterthought. Like, we'll see what's left for that, but I'd rather, you know, just pass on that this year. Would you get a second dog? This has been on my mind for a minute because I feel like it is something that we would love to do. I would love to give Mia a little friend. I don't think it'd be that much more work, like when you already have one. Maybe I'm totally wrong. When we leave her home alone, I think it would make me feel better knowing that she has like a little friend and she's not just here by herself. But that's not something that we would do for sure until after our wedding, again, because I'm already like, who's gonna keep me up when we get married, as we get down to it. I'm sure someone won't be able to go for one like life reason or another, and then hopefully they can keep her. Obviously boarding is an option, but I'm not an anti-boarder. I'm not board shaming here, but it just makes me so sad to think about like she's such an anxious dog, and like boarding her, I know she would be just like so scared, so I just can't do it. So every time we go out of town, we like coordinate it with our neighbors or like someone that can keep her, which we don't even travel much anymore. But as a fellow late gay, did you ever mourn how you pictured your straight life, or was it whatever? I totally know what you mean, because I think like I could understand that school of thought or like those feelings. So if you're feeling that way, I think that's totally normal. But just my experience was I never like pictured this straight life, like was never excited about getting married. I could never imagine it. Like I could never have imagined having kids or any of that. So there was like nothing to mourn really. So to answer your question, that was not my experience, but I think that's totally valid. Can you make a checklist of how you prepare for a dinner party? I love that idea. Maybe that will be a video at some point, just off the top of my head without thinking about it a lot. I feel like you just pick one thing and then base everything else around it. So maybe you have a recipe that you really want to make, and then you plan the whole menu around what would go with that. Or maybe you have a theme idea, like this garden party idea. And so you think through the decor first. What would the menu be like? Starting is the best advice. Like get an idea for one thing and run with it and base everything around that. But I could definitely think through a whole checklist at some point. When do you know if moving in together is right? I'm gonna spill some tea. You guys might remember back in the day when Giselle moved in with me at the first place we lived together. I did not announce that Giselle had moved in until a year or so, maybe more, after she was already living there, because when I moved there, she moved there with me. At that point, we had been dating for 8 months, but we were only official for 5 months and we moved in together. So, you know, there's definitely a stereotype for lesbians moving in together that I think we fulfilled, but obviously it was a success story. And why we did that, like for us, I think if I had had a great roommate situation, I would have just stayed there, but there were a lot of reasons that I was wanting to move. So it was like not lining up with any of my friends to move in with them. Giselle was kind of in the same boat. Like her roommate at the time was moving in with her girlfriend. So we were both like roommateless. So it was either going to be like we go get our own places, which obviously is going to be expensive, but also like ever since we met and started dating, we were living 5 minutes apart from each other. Every day we were like going back and forth to each other's houses. A huge thing I forgot to mention is that our leases were up on the exact same day. So like we're moving on the exact day. Financially, we thought it made the most sense to just move in together. So I think that when you're at a point that logistically it makes sense, and also where you see a long-term future with them, I guess, there's not red flags or things that like deep important things that you're not aligned on, that you're just kind of ignoring for the time being because you're getting along, you're dating, it's fun, and like these things are going to resurface later on and like potentially break you up later. Like I think if you're not brushing some big things under the rug and your relationship is like in a healthy, good place, and again, it just like logistically feels like a good time to move in together, then I would say it's right. I think go for it. For us, it like all things pointed in that direction, so we did it. It's been good ever since. I'm realizing there's so many more questions and I've talked for so long. I feel like I might need to just save some of these for another Q&A. Any other group trips this year? Sadly, no. I got a lot of questions like this, and I did say last time that it was gonna be my last group trip, and unfortunately, that was not a marketing tactic. That was the truth. I feel like my Christmas markets one again was like such a high note. Like every single person there was so great and it was just a seamless trip. So I feel like that was a great note to end on. Sorry to say. I got a couple questions about, are we planning to get married early given the whole same-sex marriage overturning efforts that are going on, which is just insane to me. Like it's so insane to me. Why are people so threatened? Like I get people disagree and like you think it's a sin or whatever. Aren't those the same people that are like such constitutionalists and like don't we have separation of church and state? So like that doesn't add up. In what world does who someone is married to that you don't even know, because let's be real, you're not friends with them, how does that affect you? Like it doesn't affect your life at all. It's so weird to me. Like the more people are anti-gay, the more I'm like, I think you're gay. Like it's giving gay. Given that my understanding, and maybe some of you guys could correct me if you know more than me, but this actually passed in the last election in California to where gay marriage is protected, thank goodness. So where we live, we don't plan to get married early, like just legally on paper to have that protected, because I feel like for us, I don't think it would change, because it sounds like if it gets overturned, it's just like going back to the States. So I feel like in our state we'll be fine. We do have some friends here who actually, they decided to just go ahead and get legally married, but they still say they're engaged. So obviously it's like, you're not wanting to go get married ahead of your wedding or whatever, but it's just what they felt like they wanted to do to feel comfortable. So we're not planning to do that as of now. I don't think it's like a bad idea. Yeah, obviously it's extremely upsetting and sad to think of other people in other states that like could be losing that right. It's absolutely insane to me. So I think I'm gonna end this. There's so many other questions I'd planned to answer, but again, I yapped too long. So the last one I answer is, what is your word of the year? Going back to the chaos that was January, going into this year, did not plan out my goals like I did the year before, right? I had this habit tracker and this like quantifiable checklist of like everything I'm wanting to achieve and how I'm incorporating it into my day-to-day. So that was just something I never got to this year. And I feel like throughout time, I've been like setting my intentions for this year, thinking through different goals. Like I made a vision board. I made like a little bingo sheet card thing that has a few different goals on it for the year. So it's not like there's nothing, but I did not go crazy like I did in the year before, because my word of the year that I picked as I was reading these questions that I think is aligning with like how I'm living this year is peace. So, I mean, we would love some world peace, but I mean like just inner peace, like in myself. Like managing my anxiety has been a big effort of mine for like the past whole year. Coming off of last year with so many goals, I feel like I was so burnt out. Like I've already harped on enough in this video. The trajectory that was going, like if I were to come into this year setting 100 more lofty goals and all these new habits I'm wanting to add, there's not the time to do it. So like I would just be driving myself further into the ground, becoming more and more stressed. As I've already said, like I'm just trying to approach my life differently this year. And like last year, I remember my word was balance, which I feel like it was anything but. Like I was trying to do 100% at so many things and was just like falling short at most of them. I feel like this year, instead of trying to do everything at once, I feel like if peace is what's driving me, like that's driving my decisions in a given week or given month, like what choices are going to be leaving me feeling good and at peace, like I feel like that will actually result in a much more balanced life, like that I was after last year and like did not achieve. So, you know, you have growth years, you have challenging years, like every year can be so different. And like last year was a big year of just like acceleration in my career and like success with that. I want this to be a year of honestly more leisure and more, I mean, I would say more balance, but you know, more peace. Like I just want just truly soak up this season of my life and enjoy every last thing about it and just slow down. That is my intention for the year ahead. So if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to let me know, because I think this is like the longest video I've filmed maybe ever. I obviously again appreciate your understanding as I do switch things up on here. So I just wanted to share all of that with you guys, get you brought up to the present, and I hope all of you guys are doing well and having a good start to your year. And I will see you guys in my next video, but hopefully I'll see you sooner over on another platform. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.